Pete here with the Small Business Resource Center YouTube channel, your source for stimulus help, business tips, and personal development. One of the important things a lot of people have been looking at, if you look at the community section on the channel, is help starting business or business tips. So the one thing I was thinking about is what I should make for the first business tip. Of course, what I thought was the most important is the single most important reason why most businesses fail, and that's a lack of sales or marketing. So when you're looking at this problem, it seems like most of the times people have a great idea, but the thing that they don't consider is the concept that I don't know that went around for a long time is if you build it, they will come. Not necessarily. I guess it depends where you live. So if I know I talked to restaurants in the Philadelphia area and I asked them about their strategy and they say they don't do anything. Well, the a restaurant that's right outside of Temple University or some type of food place, he said, well, look, as soon as people walk out the door, there's 5 places to eat. Thousands of people are walking out the door a day. And maybe you don't even have great food. I'm not saying you do or don't, but when they walk out the door, they got 30 minutes, they got an hour to eat. They see lines of people at everywhere. By default, eventually people are going to start going to your line, even if they don't know your brand, your company, or your food might not even be great, but they're probably hungry. So, I'm not saying location's not important, but for the majority of people, that's not the case. They don't have an ideal location. For any type of business, no matter what you do, marketing is probably the single most important. And I'll go into a couple other reasons. Like I know somebody who was actually on what I would consider a pretty busy street, or two different streets, both of them restaurants. Both of them had terrible signage. One of them was a white building. They had a white sign and the letters were small, so you couldn't even really read it. So when you're looking at it, people don't see a good sign or marketing, they're probably not going to stop. And keep in mind, just because you're on a busy street doesn't mean you're convenient to stop. You have to have marketing or some reason that's going to convince people to go to your place. And when you're looking at that, there's different strategies. So one strategy that I told this person is get a new sign. Well, they didn't want to invest the money in a new sign, costs a couple $100s. So I said, okay, then the next thing you need to do is you need to get the word out. The most least expensive way to do that for a small business, keep in mind you got to check your local laws, is probably to print flyers on print paper and distribute them. So I told them to print flyers with specials, with lunch specials and afternoon specials. Drop them off in a couple block radius to all the homes, and actually a further radius to all the businesses. And I said, well, if you do that a couple times, maybe like once a week or twice a week, your business is going to pick up, guarantee. So I didn't hear anything for a couple months. And then I got another call and they said, hey, do you got any more tips? Things are going bad. So I stopped in and they basically said, my first thing is I said, what about the flyers? They said, well, that worked actually. We got busy for a while. So I'm staring at them and looking at them. And I said, why'd you stop? They said, well, it's a lot of work. You got to keep in mind that this is a small business. You could pay and mail them. Really, if you drop them off, it's probably a lot more effective, even if nobody's home. If you're knocking on a door, you might want to try evenings at houses and daytime at businesses. 10 o'clock, people are going to be getting ready for lunch. You drop off a flyer that has specials for a restaurant, they might say, wow, look, 10% off for an order of $30 or more. Let's get together. So there could be reasons, but timing's important, marketing's important. So when I said, why did you stop? They said, it's too much work. Well, is being broke too much work? This person in the past, they actually were with a franchise. So being in a franchise is a little bit different. They typically pay for most of all your marketing. When you're self-employed and you're a small business, no matter what your entrepreneurship is, you have to be involved in marketing. So I'll basically sum up the most important thing here is understand how marketing works, figure out a marketing strategy to get customers no matter what it is for your particular business. And for most people, probably the most effective strategy would be to focus on various social medias. And the reason is because some of my biggest losses have been paying companies a lot of money for marketing. I paid one company for a 40-word SEO keyword search. I'm going to be making a video on that, by the way, which is pretty extensive. I'm going to put my experience on that. But you got to realize if you don't understand what a 40-word keyword search is, basically it means they come up with 40 terms that would attract people to come to your website. And once they start working on this, they have to do search engine optimization, get the information out. Now, when people start searching for these 40 key terms, you should be at the top 3 on most search pages. So that can actually do a big difference for your business, but it takes a lot of work. You can learn search engine optimization. You can learn organic advertising. You can learn paid advertising. Those are the 3 key ways that I would say that you have to learn. If you're asking what strategy works best, SEO takes time, but eventually you get amazing results because people searching specifically for what you're looking for will find you, as long as you're doing your SEO correctly. Organic is similar to SEO. You know, that could be various things like posting on social media, free posting, I should say, to promote your business. And there's various different strategies. So I will be going into some of those later. And the other is paid advertising. Paid advertising is the quickest return on investment if it's done right and you understand it. That's why I would say the most important business tip is to understand marketing and who you're marketing to and do it effectively, because roughly 80% of all paid advertising is a negative return on investment. So when you're looking at that simple fact, depending upon who you pay and how the medium works, you could be paying someone for a financial loss. I paid people for phone calls that are marketing companies because I'm a real estate agent, did a terrible job. That was probably a $15,000 contract, no return. Seriously, when I say no return. So I thought I was hiring a professional company. They seemed professional and basically did not produce results. Can that happen? Yes. I paid marketing companies for Facebook ads that were worse than me. I've actually paid for marketing courses. I've taken so many, but some of them were actually terrible. They gave information that is not 100% correct. So just because you pay for a course doesn't mean it's right. And I would recommend like a strategy. So when you're looking at marketing and paying for ads, because the return investment could be good, it also could be very bad. I would always recommend starting with a very limited budget, only what you can easily afford to lose, and see how that strategy works. Personally, I think $200 or $300 for starting a campaign. If you don't notice results, then you have to analyze the campaign and see why. Other people say you need a minimum of 1,000, but I think that's basically because how some of these platforms like Facebook work, and they claim it optimizes better, but sometimes I spent more than that and said, hey, this doesn't have a good return. But you know, I don't want to get into Facebook because of the simple fact that I know they changed things to make it, in my opinion, worse for the person paying for the ads, because you used to be able to dial in ads pretty closely for real estate, and then they said they wanted to try to be fair to everybody, and they brought in a lot of things. So for real estate, one example is if I was selling a luxury property, I would only make sure I'm advertising in areas where people with luxury properties live. I would also adjust the settings so it would only be people who had an income level that they could afford it. What Facebook did, and I would actually exclude areas that lived in areas where the median income was very low, because obviously the chances of somebody living there and purchasing a luxury property was not good. But what Facebook did is they said, we need to be fair So they took out a lot of options that allowed you to target market. Now, the only thing that did is made it worse for the person paying for the ad, because now I'm paying for ads for people who definitely can't buy my product. Does that work for everything? No, but for housing, that definitely made an impact. But whatever you're selling, you got to learn how the advertising works for whichever medium you're using. And you need to self promote organically, in my opinion, your business because it gives you traction. You're watching a YouTube video right now. One example I want to use is when I first started the channel, I didn't really have a goal of constantly making videos. I actually did it just to promote my business. And I have one that I promote real estate. And the one that I promote real estate with, I actually would just record homes and have a virtual tour. I, may have been one of the first agents in the area where my virtual tour was actually a video of the property. If you're not familiar with real estate, a lot of people would say, hey, we do virtual tours. And this was 14, 13, maybe even 10, 9 years ago. I don't remember exactly. And all it was is pictures of the house. And then they would play some music in the background and it would fly through the pictures. And the fancier ones actually just got the picture and kind of panoed it like I'm moving my hand. So they would zoom in and kind of like it was a video, but it wasn't a video. So you can keep in mind this was probably like 90s technology that was being held on to for so long. If it was before the 90s, maybe it was, but in my opinion, that was not a tour. So, with the ability to purchase a camcorder, I said, well, I'm going to make tours that actually people can look at and make a decision. So I actually started YouTube video tours with people. And a lot of times that helped because if you're looking at marketing, some people said, wow, nobody's doing what you're doing. And it ended up getting me more business. Or some people before coronavirus and COVID-19 actually may have been busy. And I said, hey, I made a virtual tour. We got a contract coming. Why don't you look at it? If you don't like the tour, we're probably going to sell this house. If you do like it, I'm going to try to see if we can wait a day or two for you to come in. So whatever market medium that you're using, you need to understand how it works because they're all different. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, they all have different audiences. So you need to know where your audience is and you need to know how that medium works. And then I would recommend once you know how it works, start your organic strategy there and then start your strategy for paid ads shortly after that if you want to start ramping up quickly. If you don't have a budget for paid ads, then don't worry about that. Get some organic sales and then try to say, okay, I'm going to learn in the meantime how their advertising works. And then when I'm ready, I will save a little bit of the money from my sales and put that into paid ads because paid ads, of course, tend to be pretty effective if you do them correctly because those advertisers want money. So all these sites are here because they want money. And of course, you want money too. But to get that, you have to know how marketing is. You're paying a marketing company. You don't always get the results you want. And typically, there's no refunds. So there you go. There's a very important business tip for today. That's no marketing and the 3 strategies: SEO, search engine optimization, which you don't always need depending upon your business, but you should have a website and work on that. And you should learn about SEO because even if you're doing organic posts, having optimized posts is important. So that kind of goes hand in hand. Organic advertising and then how paid ads work on the medium that you're using. So whatever medium you want to use, I would try 1 to 3 different ones. Some people say they use 7 different social media sites, but keep in mind the social media site should be where your target market is. So that could be age, demographics, etc. And a lot of times there's actually people on all of them. So keep that in mind. But multiple social medias, obviously the minimum has to be 1. 3 could be ideal. And then learn about it. So that's Pete with the Small Business Resource Center. Smash a like button, comment below. Let me know what I can do to help you out with any other types of business tips. And I'm going to be making more videos about similar topics Some of them are going to be marketing related, like marketing. I don't want to call them scams, but I should say losses and honest reviews. If you have any honest reviews too, comment below because I want to talk to you. And, we're in a community where we're all trying to help each other. So if you had a bad experience with someone or a great experience, let's tell people about those experiences and hopefully help each other out. All right. Have a great day.